When we talk about makeup on your exam, your major focus is going to be um, nothing primarily on the practical part as it relates to makeup. So no practical makeup, but on the theory, let's see what we have on the theory component. 2%, okay? 2%. So let's take a look at that first. All right. So looking at our the booklet for prepping us for our state board, and we're on the makeup chapter. I do want to highlight this particular area right here, where it says makeup, part 9, makeup, 2%, which means you'll probably have about 2 questions, okay? The questions are going to come from safe application and infection control precautions, and also safe applications of eyelash extensions and enhancements. These are our 2 areas that you should be studying from the makeup chapter. All right. Put a 1 in the chat if you understand. In the makeup chapter, these are the 2 areas that you should pay the most attention to because you're going to see it again on your exam. So 1 in the chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, 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 yes. Paquetta, you have your bonus. Good job. Good job, good job, good job. Tara, if you're on, go ahead and put your people in the chat. We're definitely going to take a look at these in a moment. And you know what? Danessa was who I was talking about yesterday with Yummy. I couldn't figure out her name for nothing in the world, but that's what it is, Danessa Myrick. But yes, we're gonna take a look at these in one moment. Good job. Good job. I'm proud of you. Good job. Okay, so makeup 2%, safe application and infection control precautions, and safe application of eyelash extensions and enhancements. So we are talking about cleanliness, infection control, anything that talks about wearing the gloves, anything that talks about draping and protecting the clients. Okay. All right. So those are going to be our key focus. So, and also everyone has access to SEMA videos of that nature. So I'm trying to go into the video and find a video that relates to these 2. But just know when it comes down to your objectives, those are the 2 areas I want you to have a keen focus on. All right. So we're going to move from there. And then our next chapters, as you know, are going to be nails. And look, you have 13 questions as it relates to nails. And so we're going to move forward with through the makeup chapter, preferably today. And next week, we want to spend all next week, all 3 days on nails. Okay. And honestly, we want to knock out the nail state board prep as well. We want to knock out that we have a state board prep just for nails. So there are several state board prep study guides, and I want to knock all of them out. So when you do go, you schedule your exam, you are ready and familiar. You had just about every question possible. Okay. Some may think it's an overload, but you can never be too prepared. And so next week, all hands on deck is all things nails We got to knock out each one of these areas, go over the chapter and the study guide. All right. And so we're going to move from there. Each week we will go in with our lesson, try to pull out those areas that you have to review as well. Honestly, been running for a little while, but today and tomorrow mainly, I'm gonna be able to be still for a minute. Um, Most of you all are finishing everybody on here will be finishing their apprenticeship hours, okay, for theory. And so it's going to be all a speed in preparation for everybody to prepare to go to the exam. So that's where our focus is. It's just every time we come on, if we haven't had the chapter, we're going to go over the chapter regular, but we're also going to squeeze in some state board prep. So for the remainder of the month, those who are, of course, finished, you're invited to come back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to help prepare you up until the time that you take your exam. You also have all videos as study references. And I'm going to resend out the study guides for Cosmo. So if you don't have them, I'm going to send them out again. Okay. And just to make sure you're prepared and ready to go. And I may do that after class today. Okay. So we'll hold about an hour and a half for this first part of the class. And we'll continue to move forward after that. We'll take a break and continue after that. So let's stop share on here and get ready to go in. Remember those areas that we are particularly looking for, but we have to, I want to make sure you know everything. So I am going to go over the entire thing. Yesterday's recap just jumped us into color theory. Yesterday's recap really took us into color theory. Okay. Today, Wednesday. Today, Wednesday. I don't know what today. Okay. All right, making sure I'm not. Yeah. All right. So yesterday was a big color theory day when it comes to makeup, just understanding the law of color. This area is bookmarked, highlighted areas. We went through a lot of terms. We broke down the law of color and the color wheel. Okay. And so in doing that, we also started to move on to work on the check-in questions, highlighting some of the answers. And then we pause here at choosing colors for your client, okay? How do we choose colors for a client? You have 4 primary factors. We looked at skin tone, skin undertone, eye color, and hair color as well. Picking back up today, when we look at skin tone, let's highlight that. Going back into yellow. It says skin tone is the color of the skin surface. It can be affected by heredity, diet, sun exposure, and it may vary at different times of the year. So when you're dealing with clients, please know that skin tone can go warm, it can go cool, it can go darker. And some individuals during the colder months, their skin get really light. Some individuals during the summer months, their skin get really dark or really tanned. I don't want you to group anyone into races, culture, backgrounds. It happens with all skin types. As I spoke yesterday, there are certain skin types, okay, There are certain skin types that absolutely it resists tanning because there's no melanin there to tan, to become darker. And so they are very the sun is very hazardous to that type of skin. So we're talking about albinos, we're talking about individuals who absolutely have no melanin, which 9 times out of 10 is Caucasian, European, up until you get to Fitzpatrick 3, which represents Italians, Greeks, things of that nature. This is where you start seeing melanin become populated. Okay. And so there are certain instances, certain parts of the world that there are individuals with no melanin. Okay. So, but actually, their skin is what we would call, if we were to describe it, pale, or becomes paler in the cooler months. And they cannot do like the tanning machines, but they could do like the spray tans and things of that nature. Not to say that it lasts as long, but there always is an option, and technology is always evolving to give them those options as well. All right. And so we just highlight skin color. So please note, it is a couple of things that affect it: heredity, something that's passed down, diet, sun exposure, and just different things happening in different times of the year, and definitely where they're born as well. Traditionally, cosmetic companies divide skin tone into fair to light, medium, and deep dark tones. You may have seen this, of course, when you go into foundations and like places like makeup companies, stores that sell makeup. You've seen these categories of skin tone. Okay, they even have skin tone analyzers now, so they're using AI and technology to determine your correct skin tone. When we look at undertone, highlighted again in yellow, because it's a term. Undertone refers to the pigment underneath the skin. Okay. So yesterday I gave a reference. Many times individuals will say, this person, you're so red. Okay. It doesn't mean that their skin is literally the color red, but they can see red underneath. They can see that underneath, that undertone coming up. So they would say they have a red undertone. Sometimes we see green on certain individuals. So that means they have an ash green undertone. Some individuals we see purple. Okay. Very, very dark skin. We can see a purple cast, a purple undertone under their skin. And so when you see that, individuals that you can definitely see the red, you can see the yellow, you can see the ash underneath the skin. That simply tells you, if you could see that with your eye, you have a good eye. Okay, you have a good eye. But also, if you're going to do full face makeup and things like that, it tells you how to go back to the color wheel. Okay, so if I'm seeing, and I'm going to go back here, if I'm seeing green ash undertone, like someone's skin looks like it has a little green undertone, I know that if I put a red concealer or a pink concealer or that something that has a red base, if I put that concealer on, it's going to help even out the skin tone, and it's going to help settle that ash undertone. So the color wheel is used in a lot of different factors. You'll see it in makeup, hair color, all the way around. Everything reverts back to the color wheel. So if my client had this violet, she had very, very dark skin, and she had this violet, you could see this purple look of her skin. If I put yellow or something like gold, shadow, a highlight, it's definitely going to bring out her features, and it's going to pop off of her skin tone. If the client, you can see obvious redness in their skin, red undertone, I will go back and green is across from red. I may put a green concealer on. Okay. And that green concealer is going to help even out that skin tone. And so that is how No matter how far you get, we tend to always revert back to the color wheel to give us instructions on what to do. Okay, so also undertones, we come into cool, warm, or neutral. I just discussed those tones as well. Cool tones where you can see pink, red, or bluish. Warm tones, you can see yellow, peachy, or golden. And then neutral tones is an equal mix of both, which means pretty much individuals that have neutral tones, they can pretty much wear just about, they can get away with pretty much a multitude of shades. Okay. Performing a color match test, as I just told you about technology, is even advancing that even more. Okay. Learning the categories, if you're really going to be into makeup, it's going to be important that you learn how to identify the skin tones and undertones. The biggest thing, I have people that were miscategorized. So here's where you see there's this light to fair skin tones and medium to skin tones, medium skin tones, deep to dark skin tones. In skincare, we have that Fitzpatrick scale, and you find that a lot of people misinterpret skin tones. Okay, every person of color, that's everybody on here today, every person of color is not the same skin tone. Okay, that's every person that has melanin in their skin is not the same skin tone. I don't have, Teresa has melanin, I have melanin, Pooja has melanin. Okay, Paquetta has melanin, Tara has melanin, but we are all different skin tones. Okay, so I don't want you to lead with racial backgrounds. Okay, because that could fool you. But just know anyone who is not Caucasian or European descent have melanin in their skin. They are considered people of color. Okay. And so we all have melanin, but we have different skin tones. And so, based on the background, if you were in a salon that had a pink wall, I'm going to think everybody that stands against that pink or red wall, I'm going to think everybody is warm. And then if you have a salon, for 1 minute, the Tiffany pink was popular, the teal was popular in a lot of salons, but it's still blue. If your client is standing up against blue and you're trying to figure out her undertone, you're going to think everybody is cool. Okay. And so that's when you start to misinterpret, and you go pick out the makeup for cool colors, and that's not even what she wants. Okay. Now those cool colors can make her look casket ready. Okay, that it took all the warmth out of her skin because we mischaracterized the undertones of her skin. What we should do is find a neutral space in our salon, save a neutral space that's either a black background or a white background, and then put our clients in front of that to analyze what's the true skin tone. If anytime you can get under natural light, if you can't be outside, sometimes we take clients outside under the sun because we want to see the natural light. Or they have, plenty of salons and barbershops now have ring lights, LED bulbs. So you have a lot of light, good light, that could actually give you more accuracy, better accuracy than back in the day. Okay. Looking at eye color. Okay. We're going to highlight here, even with basic categories, brown, blue, green, there are variations. There's always going to be a new variation of something. Okay. Eyeshadows do come in complementary colors because complementary colors help cancel out. So a lot of times it's playing with the color of the eyes, the actual eyes, they're playing with the color of the undertone around the eyes. They're playing also with the look of the dress, the outfit, the hair color, things of that nature. So complementary colors. And we know about complementary colors. I just discussed green cancels out red, yellow cancels out violet, opposite, so on and so on. Orange cancels out blue. Okay. A lot of times you would coordinate, this is 810, coordinate cheek and lip color. And when we look at hair color, it is a major, major emphasis, okay, on you analyzing that person's hair color based on their makeup. It's trying to do the makeup to complement the hair color. I see a lot of people that may have red hair, then they turn around and get red eyebrows. Um, I think there's blends and shades that should be considered when we're doing this. Everything doesn't have to be bright, standoffish. And so we may be hitting on the creative notch with that, but I've seen it. You guys have probably seen it too. Okay. Um, and then of course, as we stated here, let's look at our color choices that we will have to discover. Put it in yellow. You're gonna have to discover your foundation, your concealer, your eyeshadow, your eyeliner, your blush, lipstick, and so on. We have not gotten to a state board reference for today, but I do want to tell you that makeup is not just for women. Men wear makeup as well. Okay. A lot of times men will wear for if you want to do photo shoots and if you want to do set work on TV and things of that nature, you want to work on movies, you gotta also have a makeup trick bag. Okay. Concealer is used to help cover a lot of blemishes, and the camera picks up everything. So most times if I'm doing a male's makeup, I am just touching them up just a little bit. I only did a couple times. I'm just touching them up with concealer under their eyes, cheek area, forehead area. These are areas that tend to be really dark. So I'm just kind of just patting the concealer, nothing heavy, just looking, to kind of blend in just a little bit of concealer. And it really helps with the photography, with the photos that do come out. And some people use what we call tinted moisturizer. Okay. Tinted moisturizer is a moisturizer that has a little color to it. Most of the time, you'll find individuals who don't wear makeup. When they do, that may be something that they wear, just something with a little hint of tint to it. And you have reference men, teens, things of that nature. That may be the starting point of the type of makeup that they would wear. Okay. From brow gels, brow tint, brow primers. You can find it in forms of makeup, non-chemical as well, setting powders, things of that nature. All of it, cosmetology has become this thing that is not just focused on women because you focus on the entire family. And so based on services they are needing, you may have every member of the family needing makeup consultations. Okay. And looking at makeup for mature skin, as we learned in facials, what could really happen with mature skin? There's something called a GLOGA scale, GLOGAU, GLOGA scale. This GLOGA scale tells you and measures how old the skin gets. It gets old and it shows every 10 years. So it's almost like if you're 20, your skin should be doing this. And then if you're 30, this is what you should be looking at. You're 40, this is what you should be looking at. Some people see progression even at younger ages. And that's because most of the time they probably have abused something or had, some people say hard life or something of that nature, been through a lot, and it just shows on their face. And you have individuals that are 50, 60 years old that look 30, 40 years old. Maybe I give them 40 years old. And then you have individuals who are 30 years old that look 50 years old. Okay, it reverse. Here's the thing with people of color: whenever there's melanin present, melanin helps preserve the skin. Okay, so this is why sometimes you see individuals that have melanin, they look younger, and some people say they don't look their age. The melanin preserves the skin, and the more melanin you have, the more preserving your skin will be. Okay, so the more melanin you have, the darker the skin is becomes like a flip. The more possibly as you get older, the younger you will look. Okay, the skin is going to hold up a little bit more. What are some of the things that would cause the skin to not? In the middle of all of this, drugs, alcohol, smoking. Just putting it out there. Drugs, alcohol, smoking. It wears on the skin and it really stretches and pulls the skin, and you start to diminish elasticity. Once you start to diminish elasticity, then it's kind of like your fat cells begin to break up. Okay. When I say it pulls on elasticity, elasticity keeps your skin smooth and keeps everything tight and like a rubber band. Okay. But when you stretch it too much, from different aspects, you stretch it too much, then it's going to lose its elasticity, so the skin don't sit up and it's not tight like it used to. It will start to sag. All right. um and then the fat cells will be diminished as well. The fat cells are what keeps us having our round shape in our face. It keeps us from just showing our bones, our skeletal bones. And you may have seen someone who you can just see the shape of their facial skeletal. That's because their fat cells have been diminished. They have no fatty tissue, adipose tissue, giving any curve to the face or to the body or something of that nature. Most of the time, that's diminished over a period of time. As a makeup artist, you may be asked to, what can I do? Okay. You may say, what can I do? So you may have to implement facial treatment services along with makeup services. Okay. Um, Please know that older skin can be drying, can be less elastic. And so you would need to make sure that the products that you do choose, that it has maybe some skincare involved in it as well. And not as drying to the skin. You want to add as much moisture to mature skin as possible. Looking at facial makeup, this is just going over the components of the different types of makeup. I'm gonna bookmark here. Please make sure you come in and look at the definitions, or you can check the flashcards. It says foundation, known as a base makeup, tinted cosmetic, minimizes the appearance of skin perfection. So it really helps hide dark spots, acne, birthmarks, things of that nature. I shared that I'm currently using a Lancome like 24-hour concealer, and I do it just in spots, and it's a full all over 24-hour concealer or something. I never thought I would use anything by Lancome. I had already always been a MAC person, and MAC has dried me out. I still love a MAC, but it has dried me out, and so for a moment, I'm on Lancome. I'm on Lancome for a moment. It's moisturizing. It's radiant. I don't need anything super heavy at all. So I'm good with that. I'll let you guys know how it go. Primer. Primer is going to be the foundation application process that begins. It begins with a primer. Okay, silicone base. It will fill in uneven skin surfaces. So a lot of times you'll see individuals that have on primer. They will have some people doing milk of magnesia. Some people do the calamine lotion. I do the calamine lotion sometimes, but the primer helps fill in those uneven areas and help with your discoloration. So primers are necessary. And also primers are necessary if you have sensitive skin. And so the primer can come on, and what happens, the foundation sits on the primer, so it doesn't necessarily sit directly on the skin. And so primers are very essential for those individuals that don't like weight products to weigh their skin down. Okay. Um, so you apply the primer, then you apply the foundation. All right, I'm just going to do the first sentence of each one, put it in yellow. Here we're talking about the different types of foundations. And we do cream versus liquid. It says liquid foundations are marketed as oil-free, and these are usually intended for oilier skin types. Okay, oilier skin types, which means you don't want anything to clog the pores. This is why they're marketed towards oilier skin types. This would be, you can have the makeup without having that stiff stuffiness on your face. Cream foundation, also known as oil base, is good for those that are more so dry, okay, less water. And all foundation types in some degree have sun protection, but finding one that has a great sun protection just really helps you if you're not using a sunscreen all the time. Mineral makeup is one of my favorites as well. Okay, haven't used it in a long time, but definitely has great coverage with mineral makeup. We begin to look at concealers, highlighting the first sentence that defines concealers. Highs, dark circles, hyperpigmentation. Like I told you, I'm using my concealer as a foundation now. Could be used as a foundation or could be used with a foundation, but it definitely helps with those hyperpigmentations. It benefits like the primer hiding, whereas the primer gives uneven skin. This is going to help in hiding blotchy skin, things of that nature. And concealer prepares for areas to be highlighted as well. Okay. So we're going to look at face powders. Again, we're just going to quick highlight these for definition purposes. Okay. Used to create a matte finish, help set the foundation in place. Looking at eyeshadows, cosmetics that accentuate the eye shape, complement each color. You really need to know about the color wheel if you're going to be using these. Comes in different forms as well. The eyeliner is a cosmetic used to define the eyes and make the lash line appear fuller. All right. Helps in making that appear fuller. So if you wasn't going to do any lashes, you at least had the liner. Looking at the eyebrow color, using eyebrow pencils, powders. Now they're setting it with pomade, things of that nature. Technology is evolving. So you're going to see different chemistry concepts when it comes to brows. Cheek color, also called rouge, also called bleach, blush. Okay. In the bronzer family, it's just another form of cheek color. So it's great, radiant. If you're going to do foundation, especially using concealer, you want to bring some life back to the skin because that just evens out the skin tone. And when you'll bring life back to the skin by using bronzer, highlights, and blush. Lip color accentuates the lips. Yeah, lipstick, lip glosses comes in many different forms. Waxy cosmetics for the lips. Some lip colors will have ultraviolet protective agents in it against sunlight. Mascara, okay. A lot of times people have used activated charcoal and Vaseline for temporary mascara, but I tell people all the time, you will need to set that. You will need to set that, and wherever you, a lot of times how you will seal your lashes, many individuals will seal their mascara as well. I feel like if you got to go through all that, you should have just got eyelashes because this mascara can be still smeared even when you seal it. All right. Eye makeup removers, one of the key, if you don't have the pads, micellar water. Micellar water is a cleanser, but it's mainly used as a cleanser slash makeup remover. Okay, so it's a liquid cleanser. Doesn't really have a lot of moisture particles in it because its job is to remove. I don't want to say the word strip because it's not as strong as something that strips, but its job is to go in and remove. So whether it's oil, sweat, and dirt, it is going to remove. You will need to replace it and with moisturizers and products that will make it hydrating. Grease print, grease paint, and cake makeup. These are normally used for theater bases. As I said last week, or what I said, Monday or last week, maybe last week. I talked about Broadway Street that had a main stage on it. And this is where they have theater makeup. I absolutely love it. It's open to the public, okay, but you will have to ask them to show you to where the makeup is. And I feel like for a lot of individuals who like to do photo shoots and you film a lot, you're in front of a camera a lot, you will need to have some, theater makeup. And for me, theater makeup lasts and it holds on longer than anything to stand under the light. Um, I will put MAC Cosmetics, as far as their foundations, into theater makeup as well. Okay. Anything that's thick, has a coat to it, I will put that in that category as well. I want you to review your brushes. Moving into face shapes. Okay, let's look at our facial zones. Um, and we're going to just do a few more minutes of this and we're going to move into our staple prep. When we look at our facial zones, we have 1, 2, 3. Everybody needs to know that. Facial zones. Zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. Okay. Zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. All right. Based on the client's facial shape. Based on the client's facial shape. All right. You, as a cosmetologist, would need to determine what do you do in zone 1? Am I contouring that area? I know the brows are in that area. What are we doing? Zone 2, I know the lashes are in that area. I know this is where we start with blush and bronzer and highlights. Am I contouring? What am I contouring in this area? Zone 3, okay, definitely have the lips, the chin, the jawline. What are we contouring? What are we making stand out? So these are your typical zones. Please be aware. And of course, as I stated before, contouring, highlighting. I'll put that in yellow and bookmark. Now, I do want to put in the chat shop door, okay? And this is just for um, you to learn the facial shapes, okay? Shop door, square, heart, oblong, pear, D for diamond, O for oval, and R for round. Shop door. Okay. So those facial shapes that you're going to be looking at, and you'll decide how a person needs to maneuver their makeup based on their facial shape. When we talk about eyebrow shape, I do want you guys to go visit the portal for lashes, since that's going to be a staple reference as well, where it talks about application. When you look at eyebrow shape, hard angled, soft angled, straight, and rounded. So it gives you just for the cosmetologist viewpoint, a series of 4 type of lashes that you could do and that we may averagely see on clients. Okay. Some people would think lashes don't mean a thing, but they absolutely do. Hold on one moment. Okay, never mind. Page 828. I love a red lip. You know, lips are even more busy now because many individuals are getting lip injections. And so I I love to see it because I love to see people going outside of their norm, but I want to see balanced lips. You know, I want to see something balanced that goes with the shape of their face and things of that nature. I don't know where this trend came from, but I noticed it a couple of years ago. So kudos if you're getting your lips done. I love it. Okay. If you're going to be working, wanting to get your lips done, giving the illusion of fuller lips or thinner lips for your client. Here's a chart for you to make sure you check out. 19.8. It's going to be great for you. And then you have balancing skin tone and camouflage makeup. This is usually done to help with individuals who've been through some type of skin trauma, okay, skin tone trauma, whether they have rosacea, some form of sensitive skin that has caused discoloration, whether they've had surgery and they've had a skin bridge, and hyperpigmented skin. So they want to balance out the skin tone. They will use a balancing skin tone with camouflage makeup. Camouflage makeup is going to be thicker. You may be covering up a tattoo. You may be doing whatever, but it's not an everyday makeup for everyone, but it's mostly if you're trying to what to consider camouflage, cover something up or hide something. Okay. This is a reference I need you guys to look at. This is what we've been waiting for, the consultation bookmarking. The client consultation is we know you're going to ask your questions and you're also going to use your eyes to do the client analysis. You're going to make sure that you have adequate lighting, as I stated before. And when it comes to your techniques, you're going to make sure first that you have your basic professional application, makeup application. So 19.1, I do want you to click and highlight because as they did it, I want you to kind of just count through the steps when it comes to them in infection control. They have on gloves, they have on drapes. If I was to look at infection control here, there aren't any gloves, but she's draped. For what I see, she's draped. So the headband, the towel, the cape, all of that would be part of infection control. Okay. So please know all of this will be part of infection control. Oh, this is called bracing. You guys are gonna see this when you do your facial and when you do your brow wax and brow tweezing. Okay, this is called bracing. Whenever you are doing one of those services, you are working with one hand, but your other hand must be holding the face or the eyes or that area, the head steady. Okay. The reason being, your hand needs to be in position. If something is coming towards your client's face, that hand goes in front and stops it. Okay. That's bracing. So we don't just work with one hand behind our back or one hand on our hip. We should be bracing the face. And bracing means you're working, but you're resting some kind of way on that skin. If anything comes near that skin, you're at a great place to say, boom, cut it off, cut it off. But that's bracing. And remember, you will have to show bracing. When we get to the practical component of the practical exam, we'll go over bracing extensively. I'm going to bookmark this area. Okay. This is your main page. I want you to take note 833. 833. I've already bookmarked it. 833, infection control for makeup services. Okay. For infection control, always adhere to the following guidelines during your application process. Wash your hands properly before any services. Use a clean spatula to lightly remove powder or a clean tissue or tray. Do not apply lipstick or gloss directly to the lips from the container or tube. Sharpen eye pencils before and after each use on every client. When applying eye makeup, sharpen the eye pencil after finishing the client's first eye. So after every eye, you're going to make sure you sharpen your pencil. Okay. Use a US EPA approved disinfectant. For cosmetology, we have to make sure not only is it EPA, but for Tennessee, we have to make sure it also says that it fights fungus, bacteria, and viruses. So Clorox wipes, Fabuloso, things that you buy in a grocery store are not going to be what you're going to take to stay bored. You're going to take something in relevance to barbicide wipes or barbicide spray. Okay. Dispose of any product that that you suspect may be contaminated, and that goes into single-use and multi-use bags. And politely refuse to perform a makeup service on a client with a suspected eye infection. So anything going on around that area, nope, we're not doing it. Okay. It talks about lashes and tints and things, lashes and brows, things of that nature. Curl the lashes before applying the mascara. And I'm going to highlight this here. It says a clean palette, clean implements, and proper makeup removal are vital to your makeup service. Clients will often complain about breaking out or allergic reaction. So make sure all of that is clean. And then I'm going to highlight this as well. I'm going to put it in a different color, blue. And that's going to be one area you're gonna make sure you follow. 833 to 837. 833 to 837. 837 starts talking about enhancements. You have at least one question on eyelash enhancements, and it's talking about doing it properly. How do we do it properly? Highlighting this objective. So objective 7 and 8 are your major concentrations. Objective. If you have any questions, please put it in. All right. When we talk about types of lashes, this is an area I want you to read. Strip lashes are also known as band lashes. Let's get that clear. Strip lashes are also as band lashes. Okay. Individual flared. So an individual saying, I want clusters, you're just talking about your individual. We would call them individuals, not clustered. Here's a note here, clustered lashes are over the tab. So there's another name for cluster lashes called tabs. And it said the term eye tabbing used to describe the process of applying groups of individuals along the lash line. Groups. Okay, so we're looking at a whole little, this little container. Individual lashes create a full natural looking lash line, and the lashing. And then individual lashes, also known as clusters, also known as tabs. By tabbing is applying groups of individual lashes along the lash line, right? Something for you to refer back to. Eyelash tabs. I want you to reference all of lesson objectives 7 and 8. Okay. When we look at adhesive, okay, there's of course different types of adhesives. So just note, I'm gonna tell you this adhesive that's like black, especially if you're doing lash extensions, which is not on here. Black adhesive sometimes has different chemical in it. You know, people use it all the time, but it has like a what else about black, about the lashes. Mm, it's not going to be able to use the same type of lash adhesive. I'm talking glue. Okay. So there are many individuals, you got individuals, people that want lash extensions, they want lashes, but they can't deal with the glue. There's alternative things, but if they choose to go to a weaker glue, cause us to have to redo their services more often. And most clients, after they pay one time, they don't want to pay the same thing a couple of days later. They want these lashes to. So make sure you're telling your clients based on there's different glue, and if they have a problem with your traditional glue, going down to another one may also cause, like you may get through the service, but your lashes may not stay on long. So let them make a choice of, or you can make the best choice of what you choose. The removing of eyelash extensions, artificial eyelashes, knowing procedures on how to do that. I'm highlighting the area here, putting it in yellow. And it was lash extensions. We're talking about the individuals. For more information on that, the book is saying it could last up to 2 months. I know many individuals who may, okay, and that's with at least one refill. Okay. Let's see what our next section comes up. Um, Reading the chapter from eyelash perming on down. Right now, I want to take the time to go into one of the study guides. Let's take a 5 minute, and we'll come back and go into one of the study guides. Okay. Audio is going off. It is 11:06. We'll be back. All right, we're back. Hold tight one moment, pulling up. Okay, this study guide has 85 questions, excuse me. State board prep, chemical texture services. So we're looking at 85 questions. This should be fun. All right. Hold on one moment. Okay. All right. So this would be emailed over to you. And actually look for the email. It's going to have several attachments. I want to go ahead and make sure you have all of the state board prep study guides. Even when we're not in class, you should be studying these study guides, okay? Especially for those individuals who've already done with their 750 and you're just jumping back on for a refresher, okay? Every day, you need to look at your study guides and you need to open SEMA every day, watch something, okay? Read something, review something. So let's look at number one. I'm gonna ask you to use your chat. Use your chat. Some of the ones I'm gonna do answers to, but definitely feel free to put their to use your chat as well. Number one, blank give you the ability to permanently change the hair's natural wave. Oh, this is also, I will be going over those that seem hard. When you do get your study guide, print it out if you want, or even write down the number of the question that you didn't understand. I don't mind helping you through that. Okay. Number one, blank give you the ability to permanently change the hair's natural wave and curl pattern, therefore offering clients a variety of styling options that would not otherwise be possible. Is it chemical hair softening? Okay. Chemical texture services, natural hair services, or alternative texture services. Blank give you the ability to permanently change the hair's natural wave and curl pattern, therefore offering clients a variety of styling options that would not otherwise be possible. Is it chemical hair softening or chemical texture services, natural hair services, or alternative texture services? Number one. Number one is B. Okay, chemical texture services give you ability to permanently change the hair's natural wave or curl pattern. Chemical hair softening, okay, is that pre-service to what they call the Gina curl or Jerry curl. Natural hair services is just you styling natural hair. Alternative texture services is nothing that your book relates to. Okay, so number one is B. Number two, without a thorough understanding of blank, cosmetologists could demand hair could damage hair, cause hair loss, and harm their clients and themselves without a thorough understanding of blank. Is it chemistry, immunology, color theory, or branding? Without a thorough understanding of chemistry, A, cosmetologists could damage hair, cause hair loss, and harm their clients and themselves. Number two is A. Number 3, The tough exterior layer of the hair has the purpose of surrounding the inner layers and protecting the hair from damage. Okay. Is it hair shaft, cuticle, cortex, medulla? What tough exterior layer of the hair has the purpose of surrounding the inner layers and protecting the hair from damage? In order for you to understand this question, you have to know what the multiple choice means. Okay. Hair shaft. Hair shaft is the hair that you see outside of the scalp that's on the body. Okay. Hair shaft. There's hair shaft and there's hair root. You can't see the hair root unless you pull it out. Hair shaft. Okay. Now, that hair shaft has three parts: cuticle, cortex, medulla. The cuticle is the outer part, okay? Has many layers. Then you have the cortex, can only be broken down chemically. And then you have the medulla, which is sometimes absent in fine to very fine hair. Let's go into the question. What tough exterior, keyword, exterior layer of the hair has the purpose of surrounding the inner layers and protecting the hair from damage? Anybody know? Hair shaft, cuticle, cortex, and medulla. Now this is the easiest one you're gonna see. Cuticle? It is absolutely cuticle. Good job. It is cuticle. I'm also gonna say that when test taking, you probably have heard this before. When you have it in front of you, don't spend a lot of time on it. Go back. But also, if I preach about you learn your terms, if you understand what the words mean, you can do it. Okay? You can absolutely do it. Questions that are a little wordy, stop and reread them a couple of times. Stop and read them again. Okay? Now, when we look at number 3, is cuticle, but notice the next couple of questions are probably going to relate to 3. Okay? So, number 4, which layer of the hair is located directly beneath the cuticle layer and responsible for the incredible strength and elasticity of human hair? Hair shaft, cuticle, cortex, medulla. We can take cuticle out because cuticle is already the answer for number 3. It's the outer layer. Cuticle is already the outer layer that protects everything else. Now it's asking you, what's that layer that's right under the cuticle layer? Okay. And that answer is going to be number 4 is going to be cortex. Here's the thing, the cortex, we must learn this. The cortex is the layer where all of the chemicals take place. The color changes, the texture changes. So where relaxers work, they work in the cortex. Permanent wave, Jerry curls, they work in the cortex. Hair color, permanent color, bleach, it works in the cortex. But also what's in the cortex is your strength of the hair, the elasticity, okay, and your moisture of the hair. All right. So this is why when you do chemical services, we have that term over processing, and as you do chemical services, you're also damaging, or you possibly could damage, the other things that's also right there with the chemical services. And that's the elasticity and moisture. So, when you over process relaxer or bleach, you're not only pulling the melanin out, but you're pulling the strength of the hair out, you're making it weak, and also you're pulling the moisture out. So number 3, we have cuticle. Number 4, take note, directly under the cuticle is the cortex, okay? The elasticity is located in the cortex. That's number 4. Number 5, which layer of the hair is the innermost layer of the hair and often called the pith or core of the hair? Also, let me mention, this is also absent in fine to very fine hair, okay? It is a hollow space. Sometimes many people don't even talk about it. So which layer of the hair is the innermost? You have outermost, you have inner. Now the innermost should be very easy. That is the medulla. Okay. Let's make sure we all understand the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. When we go over this, I may give you a quiz Monday. I may give you a quiz Monday on the first 10 questions of this study guide. Now I may do the first 10 questions. Yeah, the first 10 questions of this study guide. Because this is a foundation. You got to get the foundation, okay? So cuticle, cortex, medulla, we understand that. Number 6, the term pH, okay, is an abbreviation used for potential blank, and the symbol pH represents the quantity of blank ions in solution, okay? So let's look at number 6, okay? We know the term pH stands for. Anyone know what pH stands for? You can unmute or you can put it in the chat. Let's do that one first. pH stands for potential hydrogen. Okay. The term pH is an abbreviation used for potential hydrogen, and the symbol pH represents the number of hydrogen ions in solution. So the answer is A, hydrogen, hydrogen. Okay, so number 6 is A. Number 7, the blank measures the acidity and alkalinity of a substance by measuring the quantity of hydrogen ions. Okay, is it oxygen content, pH scale, salinity, which is a word they just thrown in there, or radioactivity level? Okay, that has no absolute reference to anything we're talking about.
pH scale.
pH scale is correct. Good job. Number 8, the range of numbers used in the pH scale. Your pH scale goes from 0 to what? 0 to 5, to 7, to 10, or 14.
Is it 0 to 14?
You're absolutely right. Good job. Your pH scale goes from 0 to 14. And here's the thing with 0 to 6.99999 or 0 to 6. It is going to be acid. 7 is going to be neutral. And it's going to be 8 to 14 is going to be alkaline. Here's some things you need to know. Closer to 7 is going to be on the weaker ends, closer to 7. The further away from 7 is going to be products or ingredients, things that are super, super strong. All right, so 7 is the still water. 6 is weak. 8 is weak. But the further you get from 7, it's alkaline. You're talking about bleach, ammonia, household bleach, hair color bleach, relaxer ammonia. It gets stronger and stronger and stronger. When we are talking 7 and going on the acid side, 6 is weak. The hair is 4.5 to 5.5. So it's kind of straggles in the middle. They call that acid balance. But when you get down to 3, 2, 1, that's going to be what we consider strong, super strong. Those are your acid pills, your chemical pills. Okay. It's also going to be citrus, lemon. It is going to be Coca-Cola, battery acid. Okay. All of those components are going to be super, super strong. They're going to have a lower number on the pH. Just wanted to share that with you. Number 9, chemical hair texturizers temporarily raise the pH of the hair to an alkaline state in order to expand and harden the shaft, harden and close the cuticle, swell and set the shaft, or soften and swell the shaft. Y'all, when they're talking about shaft, that means hair. Okay. So expand and harden the hair, harden and close the hair, swell and set the hair, soften and swell the hair. Number 9, okay? Chemical hair texturizers, that's a relaxer. It's a light form of relaxer, but it's a relaxer. It raises the pH of the hair to an alkaline state because it needs to soften and then it swells, it opens up, okay? Softens and swells. 9 is D. 10, in the restructuring process, coarse, resistant hair with a strong, compact cuticle, that's a tight cuticle, requires a chemical solution that is slightly alkaline, mildly acidic, strongly acidic, or highly alkaline. Okay. What does this look like in hair? The restructuring process. We're talking about a Jerry curl. We're talking about a Gina curl. Restructuring. You're changing it from one state to the next. Okay. Restructuring process. We're talking about a relaxer. We're changing it from super early, curly hair to straight hair. Okay. So the restructuring process, don't let that word fool you. It's just changing it from one state, straight to curly or curly to straight. Coarse. Think about coarse hair. Resistant hair. Strong cuticle. Think of your fist. And you got a grip lock. You just have a grip on it. You can't open it. Ain't nobody getting this out of my hand. It requires a chemical solution or something stronger than to really get it open. Okay. Coarse hair can take stronger products. I think we all know that. Okay. But as I stated before, on the pH scale, the higher the number, you're going to find relaxers. You're going to find bleach. You're going to find ammonia. Okay. So number 10, where it says in the restructuring process, coarse, resistant hair with a strong compact cuticle requires a chemical solution that is highly alkaline. Highly alkaline, which means something really strong that is going to open that cuticle up. Resistant hair, coarse hair already has a thickness to it. Resistant hair with a strong compact cuticle requires a chemical solution that is highly alkaline. Number 11, what are the basic building blocks of hair that affect how chemical solutions react? What are the basic building blocks of hair that affect how chemical solutions react? Okay. Basic building blocks of hair. Number 11 is going to be D, because I know that's something we're going to have to go over. Amino acids, peptide bonds, polypeptide chains, keratin proteins, and side bonds. Okay. Amino acids build up to form what we see as hair. From the amino acids, we have peptide bonds, okay, that keep what we see as hair locked together. Polypeptide chains keep our texture locked together. Keratin bonds is our strength, okay? And side bonds are what's broken with water and heat, and then you can dry them again. That allows our hair to be roller set and then dried. Those side buns they formed, and they can easily be broken by water. And so number 11 is D, and it was confusing a little bit, so I wanted to make sure I go ahead and give you that number, give you that answer, and we'll go back to it. Number 12, which compounds are made up of carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur? These are the compounds that also help make up the structure of hair. Remember, I told you that amino acids make up the structure of hair, and these are the compounds inside of amino acids. Okay, so amino acids include carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur. Put a 1 in the chat if you ever heard of sulfur 8. Put a 1 in the chat if you ever heard of sulfur 8, use sulfur 8. If somebody has used sulfur 8, tell me what they used it for. I got somebody in the chat. Yes. What did they use sulfur 8 for? Your itchy scalp. Okay, so let me tell you guys something. Remember I said here, this, if you look at your hair, this is your hair. In the chemical state, this is your hair.
The answer is keratin proteins.
Yeah. Number 12 is no, 12 is amino acids. I was getting ready to get to that answer. But number 11 is D, but your hair, you can touch your hair, but this is your hair in chemical state, in a chemical state. All of this helps build what you have on your head. Okay. The amino acids are the first things that start to build up that hair. Inside of the amino acids that you see in number 11 are the items in number 12. Carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and sulfur. Okay. They call that cones. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before. Okay. They call that cones. I mentioned sulfur 8 because here's the thing. Whenever the hair is going through something, it's breaking or it's weak, just say the hair is weak, it's losing its strength. The keratin proteins locks it in and builds the strength. So if the hair is weak and breaking, I need to go in and replace what's missing, the keratin protein. So this is where people come in and have keratin treatments. Got it? And also when they're having keratin straightening treatments, their hair becomes stronger because of the keratin protein, okay, that's in the treatment. So those individuals have more smoother, beautiful hair because it is giving it what it's made up of. The hair responds to more to what it's made up of. You may have a lot of products out here that maybe have all of these ingredients, they smell great, but they don't contribute back to what the hair may be losing. So this is why you don't really see anything really going on with your hair. You don't really see the actual change of the hair. When I mentioned sulfur 8, because the hair is made up of a percentage of sulfur, when we add sulfur back into it, and I have heard no one say that sulfur 8 did their hair wrong, even though it had a smell. But sulfur, your hair responds to what it knows. So with that sulfur going back into the hair to build it up, the hair responds by relieving the itch, if you think it does, Paquetta, and strengthening it and allowing it to continue to get into components and grow. Okay. So that's one thing we look at too. And we're putting sulfur 8 on the scalp. The pore kind of enlarges a little bit and pulls that down so it enriches where the hair is growing. It almost acts like rosemary oil, okay, where it just kind of dilates that follicle and really gets to go down deeper where the hair is doing the growing from. So it's a great component. Just many individuals do not like using it because they think it's old school, but the old school works and they can't get rid of the smell. If you ever heard of something called Alpha G, GHEE, Alpha G. Alpha G strengthens because it is keratin proteins. So anytime someone is having an issue with their hair breaking, shedding, put back on it what the hair is made up of. I'm going to use products that build proteins, replace amino acids, build my structure up, which means I'm not going to do chemical services. I want to strengthen that, adding keratin, and then I want to add hydrate and moisturize my side bones. And so a lot of times you have to search for products that have these components in there to really give the hair what it needs. And most of the time you're talking about some advanced people. So 12, which compounds are made up of carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, amino acids. Amino acids are made up of these cones, amino acids, okay? And from the amino acids, you have peptide bonds, polypeptide chains, keratin, protein, and so on and so on. 13, which chemical bonds, also known as end bonds, join amino acids together end to end in long chains to form a polypeptide chain, okay? Whenever you see an end bond is like a connector. Y'all, an end bond is another name for a peptide chain. A peptide bond, I'm sorry, peptide bond. An end bond is another name for a peptide bond. And what it simply does, it connects two things together. That's all it does. Connects two things together. Okay? So it's like glue. It helps put something together. When you over process the hair, you break up the glue. And that's how we got issues going on with the hair. It starts to split. It pulls away. It's spongy on one end. It doesn't do this. It's breaking. It's dry. Okay, so we want to make sure we don't damage the hair and we keep that glue, that bond, keep those chains together. So 13 is B. Okay, when it says end bonds, join amino acids together end to end, I was done. End to end, I know that's a connector. I know peptide bonds are also end to end. So peptide bonds and end bonds are the same thing. 13 is B. 14, what are long coiled polypeptide chains linked together end to end? Okay, linked together end to end. Long coiled polypeptide chains, these are keratin proteins. Okay, keratin proteins. And remember, it goes in this form here. It starts with amino acids, then peptide bonds. You got your acids, then your acids come together. The connectors, the peptide bonds, connect them together. Once they connect together, they form polypeptide chains. Once the chains are formed, they're called keratin proteins, okay? And it moves on from there. All right. 14 is D, keratin proteins. Think about Brazilian blowout. Think about those Brazilian blowouts, okay? Keratin proteins. And let me tell you, when people say silk outs and press, do anyone know the difference between a silk out service and a press, like a press and comb service? A silk out versus a flat iron, or a silk out versus a press. Can anybody tell me in your own words what you think that means? We may have the terminology. Okay. Did anybody know that there was a difference between a silk out and a press, or a silk out and a flat iron? Anybody know that there was a difference?
No, I didn't know the difference.
Okay. A silk out. Okay, let me just start old school. A press, shampoo, blow dry, press with the pressing comb. That's a press. Okay. A flat iron, instead of using a press, you're using a flat iron. All right. A silk out is traditionally going to be a shampoo, conditioning treatment beforehand. That is going to be a shampoo and like a mousse applied to the hair. Okay. And it's applied normally from the root down, section by section, and is blow dried in. All right. And I'm just going by one product company, blow dried in. Once it's blow dried in, then you will go in and you will flat iron the product. The blow dried sections, you'll flat iron it straight. And now the hair is straight all over. Then you'll go to the bowl and you'll rinse it out. You're just like, Miss Cox, what? Then you'll go to the bowl and you'll rinse it. Okay. Then you'll come back, blow dry, and flat iron. That lasts anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. The more you shampoo it, the more the curl reverts back to the way it was. Okay. Design Essentials has a silk out system. Naked Hair Care has a silk out system. It is the same thing as the Brazilian blowouts that Puja does. Okay. But yeah, silk out systems, when you hear those terms, that service is going to cost more because that little one bottle of mousse, hold on one moment. Okay, so the silk out system, that little bottle of mousse is probably going to cost you $100. And that is protein. Most of the time, it's pure keratin protein that you're putting on and blow drying into that hair. The product that Puja uses, I think one bottle was like $150. But you can, Puja, how much do you charge for your keratin treatments? Like, if you were to charge full price, how much is that? Is she on? But yeah, we'll talk about it and discuss it. But it is a difference, y'all. It is a difference. So when you got on your things, when I see people say sick out systems, I know that system is probably, takes you up into a certain amount of money. And it's different from a press because as soon as water hits the press, it is going to revert back to the way it was. But when you have a sick out system and water hits it, it remains straight. And it only reverts back over a period of time. The more you shampoo it, then the curl comes back. But it instantly, it's like it restructures your curl. Your curl looks great. And when it's straight, it looks great. Almost looks like your hair is glass. So yeah. And in those are components. And so when you have like super, super great products, you can know that the hair is going to be smooth, it's going to be sticky, it's going to do what it needs to do. Okay. What number we are on? 15. The cortex of the hair is made up of millions of polypeptide chains. The cortex of the hair, tell me what's going on in the cortex of the hair. This is what we may have to talk about. What's going on in the cortex of the hair? When we first came on, I said cuticle cortex and medulla. Well, I said hair shaft is what you see with your eyes, and the hair shaft is made up of 3 parts: the cuticle, cortex, and medulla. Can anybody give me one thing going on in the cortex? What's going on in the cortex? This is scary. All right. Cuticle, the outer layer protects. Okay. Cortex, all chemical services go on in the cortex area. It is the inner layer. Also, all of your moisture and elasticity, your porosity and elasticity is in the cortex. Okay. So I got my moisture, I got my strength, and I got my melanin. I can change the color, and also I can change the shape of the hair. I can change the texture of the hair. All of that's going on in the cortex, okay? In order for you to understand what the question is asking and the multiple choices that are available, you have to understand what stuff is. 14, the cortex of the hair is made up of millions of polypeptide chains cross-linked by 3 types of sideburn bonds that are responsible for the elasticity and strength of the hair. These bonds are the sulfide bond, trisulfide, and hydrogen. Let me tell you, never heard of that before. So go ahead and eliminate that one. The sulfide bond, salt bond, and hydrogen bond. The sulfide bond, salt bond, and oxygen bond. The sulfide bond, chlorine, and hydrogen bond. Let me tell you something. 15, the answer is B. The sulfide, salt, and hydrogen. Those are your only bonds, okay? The sulfide, salt, and hydrogen. Those are your only bonds. 15 is B. 16. What chemical side bonds are formed when 2 sulfur type chains are joined together? Is it a disulfide bond, peptide bonds, keratin bonds, or amino acids? And number 16 is going to be A, the sulfide bonds. What chemical side bonds are formed when 2 sulfur type chains are joined together? And 16 is going to be A, the sulfide bonds. 17. Which bonds are relatively weak? Keep that in mind. Physical side bonds. You only got 3 side bonds. We already talked about the sulfide. So which bonds are relatively weak? Physical side bonds resulting from an attraction between negative and positive electrical charges that are easily broken by changes in pH. Okay, changes in pH. 17. B.
Is it hydrogen bonds?
It's B, salt bonds. So you have the sulfide bonds, okay? When 2 sulfur-like bonds get together. And then you have 17, you have salt bonds. They're weak. You do have 2 weak bonds, weak physical side bonds resulting from a change in pH, okay? So the climate, there's a change in the product that you're using. So 17 is B. And then 18, okay? This is 18 may be the weakest of the side bonds because hydrogen bonds are weak physical side bonds that result from an attraction between negative and positive electrical charges and easily broken by water or heat, but reform as the hair is. 18 is dried. Okay, so you'll say, okay, Ms. Cox, I take my client to the shampoo bowl, put the water on the hair, boom, hydrogen bond breaks. My client got a flat iron. We go outside. The humidity is so hot. Her hair swells up. Boom, the hydrogen bond breaks. How do we get the hydrogen bond to go back to the way it was? You're going to have to blow dry with heat. You know, it straightens it out. You're gonna have to use flat iron. It's heat. It straightens it out. Or you put them under a heated dryer. It'll smooth and straighten it out. And so hydrogen bonds can easily be broken with water, but it also is easiest one to be formed again because you put it under a dryer or you blow dry it into another state. You will find products that have hydrogen bond that, there's a product like Olaplex and K18. Those products they help build your bonds in the hair. So they're literally making your styles last longer because they're building up the bonds. And if they could build up the bonds, your silk press won't revert back as fast because that bond has been strengthened. And even if a little heat get to it, it'll still stay straight. But yeah, that's the bonds. You only got 3 bonds. The sulfide bond is the strongest. Then come the salt bond, and the weakest is going to be the hydrogen bond. How do we know it's weak? It can easily be broken by water, okay, sweat, anything of that nature. It also is easily can be put back together. The only thing you had to do is roll it, blow dry it, flat iron it out, and it will be in a new state. That heat brings it back together. So 18 is dry. This is why you can shampoo hair, break it, roll it up, put it on the dry. It's in a new state. Sometimes this is also why hairstyles can last so long. Somebody can do a hairstyle and say, that hairstyle still look, they can come back 2-3 weeks, like your hairstyle still looks good because they literally probably have strong hair. They literally probably have great buns that hold their style together. And then you have other individuals that the style don't last 1 day, 2 days because their buns are not as strong to hold the style. So, and a lot of times you see this on individuals who have thin hair, low density, fine hair, and you have to build up, or they might not never have that type of strength to hold styles. We're gonna finish this page and then we're gonna pause. 19. Blank is a 2-step process in which the hair first undergoes a physical change caused by wrapping the hair on perm rods, and then a chemical change caused by application of permanent waving solution and neutralizer. Okay. Now, number 19, a 2-step process is talking about permanent waving. First, we're going to wrap it. Number 2, we're going to apply the chemical solution. So 19 is C. 20. What determines the size of the curl in a permanent waving process? Okay. A, the size of the rod. Based on the size of the rod, it's going to determine the size of the curl. 21. In permanent waving, the shape and type of curl are determined by the shape and type of rod and is it long rods, hair length, sectioning, or wrapping method. 21 is going to be wrapping method. In permanent waving, the shape and type of curl, what you get, determined by the shape and type of rod and the wrapping method, how you wrapped it. 22. Once in the cortex, I'm going to ask you again, what's going on in the cortex? Anybody? Anything? What's going on in the cortex? 24/7. What could possibly happen in the cortex? It says once in the cortex, the waving solution breaks the disulfide bond. Okay? The disulfide bond is inside of the cortex. Remember, it's the strongest bond to be broken. The waving solution breaks. So the chemical waving solution breaks the bond. So the bond, if the hair texture was overly curly, when it starts to break the bond, now the hair becomes, over a period of time, less curl, less curl, less curl, less curl. Okay. Once in the cortex, the waving solution breaks the disulfide bond through a chemical reaction called 22. The chemical reaction is C, reduction. Okay. Reduction. Once in the cortex, the waving solution breaks the bond, the disulfide bond, through a chemical reaction called reduction. It's reducing the curl. Okay. Reducing. 23. In permanent waving, the reduction reaction is due to the addition of hydrogen, oxygen, sodium, or carbon. And number 23 is going to be hydrogen. Remember, we have those hydrogen bonds. 24. What are the most common reducing agents used in permanent waving? Ammonia water, hydrogen peroxide, thioglycolic acids, or hydrogen acids. Let's do a process of elimination. There's no such thing as ammonia water. Okay. We cannot use hydrogen acids or hydrogen peroxide, like what we use on wounds. We're not using that on permanent waving. Reducing agents. So we're trying to get ready to lock something in. We're not doing that. I want you to take note. Thioglycolic or just thio acids or thioglycolic. Those are the acids or the chemical that sets for permanent wave. All right. Thioglycolic acid. Okay. It also smells, guys. So when someone's doing the Jerry Curler permanent wave, that smell you find, that comes from a thio. Okay. THIO 24. And we look at 24 at C. And yeah. So we'll pick up at 25. I may just do like a I don't know. I got to get your hours out tomorrow. I got to get our reports over to state, and I got to do some other paperwork issues. But I need you to pick up 25. This is 85 questions. I don't want you to wait on me. I want you to go ahead and get started. I am going to give you a quiz Monday on the top 10. Okay. Going to give you a quiz Monday on the top 10. Because it kind of bothered me that I'm a slow response about cortex. Paquetta, awesome. Thank you for your assignment. I'm taking a picture of it now. I'm gonna go look everybody up, and I'm gonna send you an email about your grade. Okay.
Quick question, Ms. D. What chapter are these questions coming from?
You probably have not had this before because remember you coming in, you're about to get ready to go into it. This
Okay.
is coming. I would include the chemical texture chapters. If you go into SEMA, it should be, hold on, don't worry, we're gonna go in right now. Hold on one moment, okay? All right. Chemical texture surfaces are on chapter 15. So go into chapter 15, chemical texture surfaces. I need you to look at the terms. You got your ebook here. I need you to look at the terms. I need you to look at procedures. You can look at your slides as well. Notice that it starts talking about the hydrogen bonds. That's a video about bonds. The wild side of the sulfide bonds. Relaxers, pH labeling. So yeah, for those that are preparing for the state board, everybody, well, Paquetta, you are right behind them because remember you came back in at 3. So I'll be sending you an update as well. Everybody needs to go back into this chapter and review. If you stumbled over anything, I expected you would a few. But if it threw you for a wrench today, let's go back in and we will be picking up on this next week. And remember, the first top 10, I'm going to give you those top 10 as a quiz. First thing we're going to do Monday morning. Once you review, so your homework is making sure you go over 15 again. But I'm gonna come back on and make sure y'all are good on some few other things. Every chapter related to State Board Prep, I do want you to study your flashcards, your slides, your check-ins. All of that are going to be essential. Okay, going to be essential. I'm gonna send that study guide over to you. Y'all hang tight for a little bit, and you'll begin